Okay, here's me having a little rant about self-service checkouts. Might sound like a weird thing, but we're all having to use them now. And let's face it, the majority of us are using supermarkets and other large retailers that use them. We're not using the local options for our shopping, like the local butchers and things like that, which ideally we should be doing, but to be honest, I think the majority are just using the supermarkets. And what it is now, I mean, with these self-service checkouts, we saw they've gone from the normal checkouts to having the smaller self-service checkouts, which again, it's been a learning curve for a lot of businesses and customers as well. And I mean, they're okay in essence, although technically you're doing your own scanning, you're doing your own bagging, you know, you're doing the payment of the goods, so there's all that aspect to it. As well as that, now they've got the cameras as well that's recording you, which, I mean, to be honest, personally, I consider that a bit of a invasion of privacy, really, because they say it's for your protection with the cameras. Oh yeah, it's all for your protection and your security, but how is that exactly? I mean, yeah, somebody might get your card and use it, and then they might get video footage of the person that's using your card, but let's be real. In the real world, how far is that going to get if you record, you know, if you get the footage off the retailer, which would be hassle in itself, and then you get that to the police? To be honest, I'm not trusting that the police would go that far with that. You might get a crime reference number, you might be able to claim something back from your card issuer for the transactions, but in all fairness, and people don't probably sometimes use other people's cards anyway, so it's kind of invalidates that a little bit to some degree. But then there's the aspect that they're actually capturing what you look like on camera as well. So they've not only got the apps that they use now, because you know they'll have the discounts, so it encourages people to get the apps so that they can monitor exactly you know what you're spending your money on, what goods you're buying, and then as well as that, they've also, I suppose, you know, what kind of payment means you're using to pay for those, which in most cases is going to be contactless, which is another aspect to it as well, because the more people using contactless, and for the younger generations, it's probably quite better, you know. I mean, even myself being a Gen X, I'm quite partial to use contactless. But every time you use contactless, it's driving the need away from cash, and it's actually getting to the point now where it's becoming quite of a social norm not to use cash and to use contactless, as I'm sure you're all aware wherever you are. As well as that, it's kind of weird when you'll have some people like begging and that. Now, not that, I mean, I sometimes doubt how genuine some of them are, but even so, it's like if you wanted to give them some money, unless you're fortunate enough to have a bit of change on you, chances are you're going into these shops paying contactless, and you can't, you wouldn't have the change to kind of give people because cash has become such an unusual thing to use. And then there's the issue. I was using a self-service because they've actually I'm sure you've noticed, but they've actually changed now from the smaller self-service checkouts to the larger ones as well, where you take trolleys in. And in a lot of cases, it can not be so bad, but then you always tend to get problems with them, and they'll have one or two people manning these checkouts that you're then forced to approach for help and assistance. You know, if you have to use any vouchers or anything like that, sometimes you need their assistance as well. So, you know, if it's busy, you can basically be at a checkout where basically you're stuck, you've got a problem, it might require age authorization or it's just bugging out, as the weigh scales do sometimes. So you're there waiting like an idiot for somebody to help you, which can kind of be a bit annoying. And the one thing with me recently was that I forgot. Normally I take the reusable bags when I go shopping, but I forgot to take the bags. So then you're forced into a situation where you've got to buy bags. Now, if I have to buy reusable bags, I don't mind that at all. That's quite easy, you know, to buy them, and as I use a lot of those, I can get a lot of use out of them. But then they don't seem to have any of the bags in stock for some bizarre reason. At best, you know, they're selling the plastic bags that they used to give away, and then they used to sell for like 30p. Now they're selling them for like 60p. And okay, you can reuse them to a degree, but if you've got heavy goods that you're carrying in them, the bags are going to ruin in no time. So it's really awkward. It's like all these things that are happening to just make the whole shopping experience more awkward and more difficult. And it's, like I say, it's a bit of a rant. I mean, I'm not kind of, it's the way things are going, and I know that, you know, somebody like me just ranting randomly like this doesn't change anything whatsoever. But it's just weird to see how things are changing like that. And then a stage further than that, I went to buy some clothes not so long ago in a big, large fashion retailer, and then not only was there a self-scan, there was a normal checkout for like returns and things like that, but they had the self-scan checkout, so the bags where you could scan your stuff and bag your stuff, but they also had the bit where you take the security tags off the clothing as well. And that was a bit of a curve. It's like, it has me thinking, like, what next? What are they going to have you doing next? Making your own clothes, you know? It's like, it puts so much like onus on the customer to do things, and when you've not done that before for the first time, it's a bit weird. I happen to buy a lot of clothes as well, because being a guy, you just buy your clothes in like bulk, really, in batches. So then taking the excuse me, I've been a bit poorly recently. But then taking the security tags off your clothing, it's a bit of a new experience. And then when you've got to do it over and over and over on each article of clothing, it takes some time, and you get queues building up behind you. So it's kind of crazy what level it's going to. But yeah, that's the rant with that. I prefer it the old way with cashiers, really. But you know, times change, things change, so it's a case of we've just got to roll with it, haven't we? So, but please comment below. Let me know your thoughts on this. Let me know your thoughts about self-service checkouts and the way it's going. If it's a good thing, if it's a bad thing, even any of your experiences, because I'm in a position, because it's a small channel, that I can read all the comments. So hopefully I'll get one or two interesting comments there with regards to this. Apart from that, thanks for watching. If you do like this content, please hit that subscribe button so you can catch more of my content. Apart from that, thanks for watching.